Depreciation,
The flood insurance rates.
I'm sorry. What were you showing?
This is just
so I'm budgeting depreciation for 24, and because of the completed projects, it went up. But remember, this is a non-cash expense. It's a forced savings expense for future projects,
So
future repairs.
this is like, we've added the, like, lift stations.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff
You
is
had
where that
the
came
lift
from. Okay.
station was the, and I think that's the only one that was left, that was completed during
I still
24.
don't, and you
Yeah.
tried to explain that to me last time, why a city has to show depreciation on here since we are not a taxable entity.
But your
You're padding.
public works department is supposed to be run like a business. And so you need your profits to cover your depreciation. On the city,
I mean,
on
I
the,
understand the cash flow advantage, all
Yeah,
that stuff.
but on
I
the
mean, just the theory of it, okay.
yeah, but,
It took me a long time too.
And then,
It doesn't
in
make
layman's
sense,
terms,
but
isn't that just, we
It's-
bought this stuff, we have all this stuff, and it just went down in value?
yeah,
That
but,
much.
but by including it as a budgeted expense, just say, okay, so do y'all remember after Harvey, well, some of y'all that were here, how y'all had no money in the
Still
bank?
Okay.
You had no money, okay. But when we started, when y'all, after the recovery, when we started depreciating, actually budgeting for depreciation, you're able to build your savings for, if you have a disaster again and you need funds, it's there, okay? You have almost $600,000 in your public works,
Accounts.
a checking account, right?
And it'll grow by.
And it'll
that
grow.
Another couple of $100,000.
Yeah.
Well, whatever difference
Now,
that is,
whatever,
no
you
problem.
know, but that's why it's forcing you to save for future public works,
Well, theoretically,
equipment, infrastructure, repairs.
Where do we draw the line as far as to how much money that we
You
need
don't.
to accrue?
Don't.
that?
You don't.
my feeling was
Because
that
if you have another Harvey and you don't get a grant, you're gonna need whatever the grant's covered for Harvey, $1 million
We're not gonna
plus.
have-
Not a drop.
Yeah, we're not gonna,
Most-
that's
Yeah.
not gonna be.
Most of the
Right.
grants coming down the pike are LMI attached.
Well, not
But-
only you're going to need capital for equipment replacement, you're going to need operating capital to
Day-to-day
make
basis.
water
Yeah,
and put sewer
absolutely,
and whatever else.
absolutely.
I always felt like a year's worth of cost for that part of it. As far as the capital goes, I don't have a clue.
Yeah.
That's
So-
what they used to have. They used to have to keep a
Year's
year's
worth.
worth in
Yeah.
the bank.
Yeah, and part of what you're doing is
Building
building it back so that you
Yeah.
don't get into the situation where y'all were.
But Gary and I were
before.
talking about that earlier. Basically, depreciation is a positive cash flow.
Yeah,
it. Exactly.
but you'll see, if I took that out, where,
Oh,
you
we'd be
know,
losing money. But look, that
That's-
went up, I mean, what's that gonna do next year? I
it's
mean,
it's gonna stay,
Pretty much the same?
it's gonna stay stable until things start, it won't.
Life's go, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
it'll get smaller until you actually have another project or you
Or,
throw something on it, but I don't think y'all are, in the public works, y'all don't add much to it. It's,
Well,
if you have an asset that's gonna last over a year, and its cost basis is $5,000 or greater, then you're gonna want to depreciate it. Normally, in a non-eventful, in a quiet year, that might be a pump that you have to replace, or, you know, something like that. but these were big projects.
Right.
So,
What my question I was leading to, have we got all of that stuff on there now?
I
What
think
would you
so.
expect that number to be like next year? Would it be like around 204, 200?
it's
something?
gonna drop a little bit.
Okay,
It might be
okay.
200.
So
But
we're-
I'm
we're-
not promising that I have everything
No,
on
yeah,
there.
okay,
Because we
but-
haven't finished the year end.
Okay,
So,
all right,
I don't
okay.
even know if I have the lift station that was finished this year, right? I don't know if I've added it, okay?
Okay,
So it actually may go up and then
Little
start
more,
coming
yeah.
back down.
but we'll see some stuff coming off the tail end of
Yeah.
it probably.
Yeah. So, just keep that one in mind and you'll see it at the end. This is your T-Mobile dues and subscriptions. The only thing that's in here is T-Mobile, so I left it at 500.
Where's that for?
That's the,
Yearly cameras.
yeah,
Huh?
The
Camera?
cameras run off of T-Mobile, yeah.
okay.
What camera?
Lift station, sewer plant, water plant, that type of camera.
So those are the mobile,
It
It's
comes
like
off the SIM
wireless.
cards.
Wireless.
Yeah,
Okay,
wireless,
yeah.
SIM cards.
Yeah, so, electric utilities, we're coming in ahead of our prior year budget, so I bumped it up. Engineering services, this is general engineering services that are not related to a project, and
But what if it's related to a project that's already in and we're doing maintenance on it?
then it's general engineering. If it was tied to the construction, the planning, all of that cost gets lumped into the cost of the project. After that, if it's maintenance or anything like that,
But what
it's
if this
just,
project was closed out a year and a half ago?
well, it's just,
We still go back and add it to it?
no, we expense it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to expense some then.
Okay,
Well, that
so
charge was for the capacity study that was done. for the-
this was for this engineering, this is for the sale of the mobile
Home.
home. There was a develop,
Go back,
Capacity.
Miss.
no,
Study.
this was the mobile home development capacity study. This is 67.
Oh, that's the one
Oh,
over
that's for
at,
the
Yeah.
Botros.
yeah, Botros, yeah.
Now, did we get reimbursed for that?
No.
Yes,
Yes.
We
Oh,
did?
They did?
yes.
Yes,
So where's that money show up?
it'd be deposited.
It might have,
Y'all didn't sneak that in the grounds and roads or ditches or nothing, did you?
Probably
I don't know that it,
Where'd it
Y'all
go?
watch
Candy
it?
fund.
I didn't know they paid it.
fireworks.
so do you, I'd have to look and see where it got deposited.
But they paid. Sabrina's gonna look it up.
Okay, okay, so my question is, do we need to budget engineering services
We're working on
for
grants right
20?
now, so I would put something in there.
Okay,
Yeah, I think we need some, but I don't have any idea to what that number's gonna be.
Well, those grant people are covering all that, aren't they? It's in the grants. Why would we be
some,
paying it?
some,
all of it.
some,
Not all of it, we always have to pay a
some,
percentage.
pre-planning or preliminary stuff is sometimes not
Well-
included, because it's.
Those guys that
because
came
if
in
you
here the
don't-
other night said, you got no expense, we do it all, everything's
That's
handled.
just for studies, that's not for engineering.
Well, I mean, we don't have any way to predict that.
You wanna
That's-
put 5 in, or?
I would put something in there because we've
You
had
could put
them out
five-
here
five-
to at
five
least
would be
do some
substantial, at least
troubleshooting on
five.
some of our control systems.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
Just because we put 5 doesn't mean we have to spend it,
no,
just a budget.
and you might go over,
and it doesn't take those guys much to get $5,000.
Yeah.
okay, no, it doesn't, but at least you have something in there, and you can
Let's
all,
go.
if something comes up and you know about it, and depending on when you're in your year, you can amend the budget,
Yeah,
so.
they're making
Call
money,
them
they're
in.
making bud kind of money, they're
But, okay, so we put 5, okay, oops, cancel. Okay, grounds maintenance, y'all, I got, the new contract is 28,000, right, Sabrina? Okay,
Yes.
so, I had already, and we don't know really how to divide it, but I left this here, and then I put the other 20 in the city. So y'all need to decide how you're gonna allocate.
We were gonna do it 60-40. That's
Okay, well,
that's my
that's-
department,
Well, that's, then the city has the 60.
but that's
you
not
have-
40.
Let's see.
10-5 is 40.
Oh, okay.
Well, how'd you come up with 60-40?
Because the city does 60, and then the
No, I know that, I
Public
know
Works does
that.
40.
But how did you get that split?
Because I think it's perfect. I measured.
I was thinking,
So,
Well,
Y'all got 3 lift stations, y'all got acres down there to mow, and then y'all got all that inside that gate where the sewer plant's at. The
Okay,
city
that's-
only has the parks, the boulevard, the entrance, River
Roads.
Bend.
the roads.
so the city
We got
has
less.
more of it.
Okay.
City has a little
Right.
bit more.
Okay,
but
so,
not a
so,
lot more.
but so, I mean, that includes what we talked about yesterday, includes the pond and around
Well-
that there.
Sabrina was gonna look that up for me. So did you find out anything about that? Did you check with him to see if that was included in the contract, or was that extra?
The
Should be
pond.
For the
extra.
pond?
It should have been extra.
Huh?
It's in the contract, but I don't think he was aware of that.
Okay, my question is, all of the grass charges, that's them right there.
28,000. That's,
I get 40% of it?
That's
I'm
right.
okay with that. I don't know how you measure any difference as you go to the square footage. But I just wanted to make sure I wasn't adding mowing in somewhere else to
Yeah.
the pond,
yeah, I don't know.
okay? So 40% is what?
11.2.
11-2.
Well, I thought you,
11.2.
man, I'm
I
getting,
had 8,000.
come on, help me here, Lonnie, I'm getting hosed, man.
Okay, so now let me ask you this
I'm
now.
okay- I'm okay
What
with
if,
that.
what if, and this is another what if, because all we're budgeting there is just enough to pay him, right, Sabrina?
Yes.
We're budgeting, that 40% that you're budgeting, Jim, is just enough to pay the contractor for the mowing, okay? The mowing, maintaining the grass, okay, basically, okay?
Okay.
So, let's say that a tree falls on a lift station, okay, and we gotta get that taken care of, or something else, huh?
It's not in there.
That's what I'm saying, we don't have any leeway for anything to happen, you know, as far as any kind of ground maintenance for y'all.
Oh, I see where
You
you're
see
going.
what I'm saying? I don't, do we need
You
it?
know, I just come, man, I don't know how you project that.
Well,
Why don't we
take
hold
down
that
a
thought
tree, it's
till
probably
we
a
go
couple
through this and
thousand.
see, that's a good point. Oh, if it falls on a lift station, it'd be mine.
Well, would we,
If it falls in the park, it's yours.
that's right, but no, you still got the same people, you still got
No,
the
no,
same.
no, I know it.
You know, but that's underground.
But see, if they, I don't know how they're billing, I assume they're billing us
Per job.
per job, and that job doesn't include getting that tree off the substation, that'd be a separate bid.
Correct.
And so that bid, whoever owns the property, that's theirs.
Well,
I
where
mean,
we-
we're arguing
Yeah,
about stuff,
where
it
we
doesn't really matter.
budgeting, I know, but who's gonna, I mean, if we don't have any, all I'm saying is that $11,200
You have no cushion.
pays for the grass.
I understand, I got
Okay,
you,
and
I
there's
got you.
nothing else.
Yeah,
that
if
it
I
pays
want
for.
something else
You want
done,
something else done down
I
there?
can bid them, or I
we
can go bid, Gary Watson Incorporated,
Sell
because
snow
he's gonna
cones.
be a
We
non-employee.
Okay.
can't just tell them to do
well,
something.
I greened it out in case we want to go back
Hot
and,
dog.
No, I'm good with that, I'm good with
We
forty.
should do a
So-
fundraiser.
I will check on that with him and see about what you just said, Sabrina, about you didn't know if he knew that that's in the contract. I need to go over that before we verify, before
have
we
you signed it?
do
It's
it.
already
Yeah,
signed.
he's already.
It's too late.
We did, but we're
But
trying
I
to
mean,
know.
he's obligated to. Anyway.
In the city's
I
obligated.
mean, this, we're getting
So
a
let's
good, we're getting a
keep on
good deal
going.
from that.
So,
Yes,
next is insurance, and health insurance, we are putting Heather, well, actually, we're splitting y'all 50/50.
He's not on
You're not on it?
Heather's
You're-
not on it.
It's just-
So if
Just
nobody
Sabrina.
is, so,
Just
but
Sabrina.
now we put Heather in Public Works, or I think we're doing 75/25.
She's not on it.
She's not
She's
on
not
it.
on insurance.
I know, but that was so actually, we probably,
Why isn't that 50/50?
There's a
because
tree.
she's not on it, so all we're doing is allocating Sabrina's health insurance.
Right.
And she does she does.
80% of everything.
On the city side.
Oh, 80 on water and 80 on city, so 160%.
So, I don't know, I think that's half of yours,
Yeah, I think that's,
okay?
now that, is that
That-
for CML insurance?
That's all other insurance, but it's 50/50.
What about that
So
TWIA that
I
we,
don't know, that's general liability, property, all of that other, and it's 15,000 between the two of them.
Back up to the health insurance. Is that half of the health insurance for Sabrina?
Yes,
Okay, so it's $10,000 a year for health insurance
Roughly.
yeah,
for one person?
yeah,
Okay.
It's expensive.
um,
One insurance that we don't
Yeah.
have line item for, we do have windstorm on both buildings now.
yeah, okay.
now, is
Well,
that
then
gonna
we
change
need to
that
add-
total?
I don't,
It's gonna be for public works though, I mean, for city side, sorry.
Okay. Okay, well, this
Okay.
is all
Yeah,
of your
that's not-
insurance except health, flood, general, windstorm.
No, it's not, because windstorm's not included in that, but what I have the insurance agent is looking to see if
Okay.
there's other buildings out here, or
Okay.
whether he can cover like that big breaker room, that if a tornado comes through,
So y'all don't have windstorm right now?
we don't have windstorm on either elevated platform, we don't have windstorm on any of the lift stations. So if a tornado wipes one of them out, then we have zero insurance to pay for. Okay, that's just gonna have to come out of the city's money, and that'll probably cost $800,000 to replace a lift station from the ground up. So,
Well, look, I'm giving y'all $20,000
for
of potential insurance, okay? And that's half, so it's 50/50, okay? So that
because,
gives you,
but it's an unknown right now, because they're
understand.
looking into trying to figure out how
If
they
you-
can write it.
okay, if you can get it and y'all want to get it and we have to amend it, that can be an amendment. But right now, I'm putting 20 in there just as a nice round number.
Thank you.
Maybe that'll cover it both sides.
well, I mean,
but-
we're budgeting and that's a no-brainer. We
Yeah.
gotta have it. It doesn't
Right,
matter, so.
Right, it doesn't matter.
If we can get it.
Yeah, if you can't get it, then we'll lower it. Lab test, I increased to 4 because we're projecting you,
Yeah, that's
okay?
right.
Legal fees, I left it at 6. We tried to, your current attorney invoices pretty much break it out. So we allocate it based on the invoices. There's not a percentage really. So anything that we see, public works or water, that's what it'll get.
And we spent year to date, what did we spend
We
actually?
spent, through August, you spent 4 almost. We're projecting, because there's usually a monthly bill, so I'm projecting a little over 5, so I left it at 6. And a lot of this was, some of it was having to do with the lift station, the grant projects, and things like that.
I'm
So-
shocked that it's that low.
See, because in 23, it was 11.
He hasn't been coming to a lot of the meetings either, to save
Okay.
money.
Yeah,
Haven't been doing anything,
And I think on the other side, on the city side, it might be a little bit more, but,
Because he's helping with the abandoned homes, so yes,
yeah.
it's gonna be a little bit more.
So, okay, here's your 811 locates, 36, and we lowered this to 5, because most of them are utility innovations.
yeah. Yeah, I don't even know what that other would be.
I don't know.
I
what
don't know.
that- The parks or something, if we put something in at the parks and we
No,
have
I
to
mean,
get
this
on
is-
there and look at it.
What?
This is still ones they would call.
Really?
Call before you dig.
Whenever you call 811, there's a charge, and the entity you call the locate in for gets
So you're,
billed from 811, and then we also have to pay utility innovations to go out and locate the line.
okay,
could've
so we're
been
just
one to
breaking it out.
Put in a,
So that 500's for utility innovations to go
No.
find out there, see
The
where
one
they're.
above it,
But this one is utility innovations.
That's for you, okay,
Yeah.
so,
And then this is the charge that 811 charges
yes.
to make the call and blah, blah.
811 then does the gas and electric and telephone.
Mm.
And then we pay Utility Innovations 3,600, we're budgeting them 3,600 to come find the water line
No,
and sewer
no,
line.
no. 811 does all of that.
No, Utility Innovations does the water and
So
sewer.
whenever you call 811, they send a locate to Energy Center Point, AT&T, Water and Sewer Services. They send it to
Okay.
all of those places,
Okay.
and those people go out and locate the line.
Okay, but those other people don't charge us.
No, it's just
Only person that charges us is Utility Innovations.
and 811.
And 811.
And
They charge us
811
so
charges
much
you the
per
basic bill, the $500, right?
What?
It may not
Basic,
even be.
811 just charges you the 500, is that right?
Yes,
Yeah, it probably.
Utility
won't even-
Innovations gets the 3,600.
Yeah.
yes.
Is that
They
right?
have to actually go out and locate the line.
Yeah, they gotta go out and find the water and the sewer line. Okay.
Okay, so, all good with that? Okay, so this is new, subcontractors. So, just for full disclosure, this section right here, last year, even though we split it out by the bill, we only budgeted it in total.
Right.
Okay, but now we're gonna go back to budgeting it individually. So, and then, per our discussion, diesel and then the reconnect, disconnect are part of the subcontractor. We put 2,000 for diesel. And this is just the other side of the income. So for your reconnect, disconnect. This is the expense part of the revenue. So they should net out.
Right.
And what is the charge for diesel?
For the generators,
Yeah,
generators are diesel.
yeah. And we didn't have, it doesn't look like we bought any this past year, but you fill it up, don't you?
Well,
So-
I think
You know,
that
it's-
comes
it's
through
coming in at-
Utility Innovations.
Yeah, it did. And I had to move that line because that is a line
Oh.
item that's
is that
billed
on
to us from
utility?
Utility Innovation
Okay.
on the sheet you get in your monthly cost
Oh,
sheet. So I
okay.
tried to take all of those
Okay.
and put them in one place.
I don't know why we would need to budget for diesel if Utility Innovations is gonna bill us for diesel.
Well, this whole bill right here.
Well, it gives you
this
kind of
is-
an idea how much you're running your generators
This
when you
is
don't.
all of
We
the
had nothing.
costs
We did.
above the base. These are all of the costs that they charge you above the base. So-
Right. This is
So-
actual
Yeah.
maintenance.
So you're gonna take Utility Innovations invoice and you're gonna look on there and you're gonna see
Janet
that
does that
diesel-
actually every month.
You're gonna see that they charge for diesel and
Yeah,
then
and then
it's
it'll
gonna
be
go
on
into
there. Yeah.
that, so now I understand.
Yeah, okay.
And if you go back and look at those monthly sheets, they break it out.
Right, you're giving the breakdown for Janet. I just.
And what that tells me is that if you look at that, it tells you how often those generators are running. I mean, that's a poor way to do it, but if the generators I mean, if we're getting power like we're supposed to from energy, we shouldn't be running those at all. But if we're getting outages, and we've had some
you
outages
have.
down there that weren't weather related, so.
So is that 57 perhaps just preventative? Just idle?
I can't, that was 2 years ago, I have no
Okay.
idea.
Yeah,
Are they running those
$57.
generators on a routine basis?
That's what I was thinking.
Somebody filled up their truck.
They need to.
Tim,
They are.
Yeah, I filled it up and realized I did that before I realized it was diesel, not gas. Really? I'm old 5 gallons. Okay, all right.
Okay, so, it might actually be miscoded because it was tier 1, so I don't know. That might- Okay, so, again, these next 4 are broken out on the Utility Innovations, monthly invoice. And I highlighted this one because I thought maybe, I didn't know if y'all wanted to increase it. But, maintenance, repair, expense, materials, daily service, and other. Most, and see, we had budgeted it all lump, so,
Shouldn't a lot of that come out because we did the chlorine injection system thing? And that would have been materials and labor, right?
No, I mean.
did y'all give me these numbers? Did you give me these numbers?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, all right, so now's this, just, so we're projecting 92,000 over and above the 28.
Yeah, and that's where if you go to that sheet I gave you, that you're gonna see that difference is coming based on some
So are we
some
good with those
projections from,
numbers?
that I'm trying to do.
You're including some of that?
One of them, and I didn't really, I apologize, I didn't have time to figure that all in. One of the things that we have to do, and everybody should be getting a call-out notice today, is that we have to go in and test the piping, not pitting. We're gonna pot the, we're gonna pot the,
I did not type that.
I don't know, I mean, forget it, doesn't matter.
Oh, Gary does call outs.
Anyway, we're going to have to go in and check the material of construction of the pipe leading away from, of the meter. And it's a TCU requirement, we got to do every house out here, and that's going to cost us, we're trying to do 10 a week. So if we can do 1 day a week, 10 a day, that's 55 times 8, that's $500 a
And
week, that's an
utilities
extra
do that?
$20,000.
Wow.
That goes
And-
to
and- and-
utility innovations.
Yeah, they're gonna do it.
Okay, so
And,
this is,
and now,
this is,
now, that number, I'll be honest with you, some of that might be in the wrong line item,
that's
but-
why we lumped it together,
yeah.
because it
But,
fluctuates every.
but that number is greater than what the ad is, but we're gonna start next week doing that, so we're gonna have some of that done this year.
Well, even if you go over on this and you're under on this, really, if you're within the 92 overall, you're good. Because really, it's all just for utility innovations.
Why are we checking both sides of the meter?
It's
Well,
an
this
ECQ requirement by the state, we have to do it.
No, what I'm saying is what doesn't make sense to me, just explain to me why we're checking both sides.
We don't wanna check both sides.
Yes.
Yeah, we do.
We do?
Sides.
Yes.
I mean, that tells me that we don't know what we got on our sides. We got plastic, I can tell you what we got on our sides.
But
It's
we have
also
to
looking
prove
at
it.
the connectors, but like what, if there's lead solder used or anything like that used.
When they connected the meter to the line,
Yes. Any connections that's over.
I
Any
mean-
connections that may be on the city side.
I just thought that all of
Making sure
our
you're
water
legal.
lines are plastic that go in, and then the meter's connected to that. And then I could see testing the other side of it because you don't know what got hooked into that.
That's why we have to look, because we have.
The
to
other
look-
side, but not
we have
our
to look
side.
at- We have to look at both sides. The customer side we have to look at because like you said, we don't know what's
Don't know
on
what
that
they
side.
put.
In case it backflows, then it goes into the water system. Our side, we don't know what was hooked up way back when, so
1963.
we still have.
Now,
to-
now here's the other piece of that. There's some other items you'll see on here that I've got in there in no particular place, but we're gonna try to move this money to that bond money that we still have that comes off of that, at least if it's possible. So that, some of that pipe testing may go away from the budget. But basically, I've still added about $8,000 to the budget from upgrading the water plant. We've got to do some preventive maintenance painting down there on the piping. Not only does it look bad, it's corroding and it needs to be work done. Now, that's gonna be, we're gonna be able to do that with our own maintenance department now, hopefully. And so the cost of the paint, and probably have to buy a few pieces of equipment like a grinder or something to knock the rust off of it. But those are a couple of things that I've added on, that show up in there in no particular place. That garage door is a safety hazard, doesn't have to be done right now, but it's something that I've got built in there. The overhead door I'm talking about. I got a rough estimate of $1875, but I've not got a hard copy on it. We'll look, see if we can get more than
You
one
have
on
to
it.
have a windstorm door. It's gonna be $4 grand.
If we do, then we'll, yeah.
Hey, back to the water meters, okay? We changed out all the water meters in the city when we went to Badger meters, every one of them.
It's still something that's required by the EPA. We have to dig up every service connection, take a picture of it, and document our work orders.
Okay, I mean, but we did change out every single meter, so we do know what's connected on the city side.
Only if it was
Do
made
you know
note
what's
of.
connected for sure, 100%?
Huh?
On the city side, do you know 100% what's connected on the city?
Well, whoever put those meters in ought
Well,
to know.
regardless,
None of
they're requiring you to do it.
Okay.
So even
Alright.
if you
Yeah,
know
this
you're
is not-
right, you
yeah.
gotta do it anyway.
This is one of those things that's not.
Check them both.
It's the government.
But anyway, what you see on there compared to last year is about a $14,000 increase. And that
They
could
don't
go
make
down
sense.
like about 8 if we are able to move some of that
Okay.
to that bond.
Okay, well, I mean, you've got a good feel for what you need.
Are we approving all this stuff that you're wanting to do? Is by budgeting that amount of money?
Yes.
No,
Are we saying get a new garage door and paint those lines and all
No,
that?
I'm not,
Not going there, but he does if you approve this budget,
it's in the
It's,
budget.
it's in the budget, and
If you tell-
that allows for 92,000 to be spent for repairs and maintenance, for maintenance and materials, and I wouldn't get tied down to the individual budget line items, but the total.
Right, and that's what we did last year. This just gives you a better
yes,
piece of control.
you
And it
are-
lines up with the way we're being billed by utility
Yeah, right,
integration.
and
So
that's fine. But if you have, if the garage door ends up being $4,000, I think he's gonna be required to,
Well,
because it's over an amount, that he's gonna have to get counsel.
that's, even if it's on the budget and we
Yeah.
come back and we say, even at the amount that I've got on there.
Yeah.
And we come back and you say, yeah, I ain't no way to spend $2,000 and, okay, we'll spend it. I would present my case as I would any other. and-
I know you would.
Yeah.
I
But-
know you would, but we can't just, some of these other budgets, if we budget 20, then, it's like.
Yeah, no, I mean, if it's $1,000 and we get it on the budget, I'm probably not gonna go to council and ask for $1,000 to do that if I'm meeting my budget. But if it's something a little more expensive, if I go in there and I say I got $1,000 for that door, and it comes back, oh, you gotta put in, whether, then it's gonna be 4,000, yeah, I'm gonna come to you then. And it's not gonna be an appearance or utility issue, it's going to be more
You think you're
of
gonna
a
spend
safety issue.
9,000 in office?
But that's a small one, because I've got another item up here. I don't know if
Was
that's,
this like getting the office ready for the new, it has tier and lease, of course, we have tier and lease direct in there
So
too.
tier
which
3 is $690 a month, and lease direct
It's
is,
5 something, yeah.
And that's for the copy
Yeah.
machine?
yes.
Yeah.
Copy machine.
Tier 3 is the IT.
Yeah, so that, it's not just office supplies, there's actually 2 contracts in here, tier 360.
I think
and
that's
lease
an
direct.
opportunity to save some money.
There's
That's a
some
lot of
savings
money
there.
on the damn copier.
Well, it's 5 year, you're leasing it
Pay it up front.
and I think you're leasing it to own it, I'm not quite sure, after the 5 years. Or sometimes they just replace it, so, I don't know, I mean, those copiers were expensive. And then you need it to do everything it needs to
Do
do.
we have to pay any kind of maintenance or anything on those copies?
It's part of the lease.
They do it all?
The toner and all that stuff is part of the lease.
They make it, okay. Well, at least we're getting some.
They're charging you a base amount, and then they're charging you for the number of pages you use every month.
Yeah, that's the click.
So it's 2 charges, but
But it does include your toner. Your toner can be
Yeah.
expensive all
Yes.
by itself.
Sure.
Yes.
And where does the click thing come in at? Where, is that a separate, is
They
that a,
bill it with they put it in one invoice.
because that would be varying every month,
Yes.
depending on how many copies you
Yes.
make.
yeah.
So do y'all have any idea how much it costs to make a copy?
10 cents.
Usually it's about 10 cents a click, usually. But if you have color, it could be more than that. And we have color, so, I mean,
to be still.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna leave it at 9. 3,000 for post, 300 for postage. I lowered it a little bit. Okay, so this 5,000 is directly related to the 60,000 in wages that we are budgeting. And this is new. Maintenance, part-time maintenance.
Is that enough for does that
It's-
postage cover mailing out bills?
That post, are you talking about what the,
Okay, then never mind.
No, that's tied into the muni billing.
That's fine. Never mind.
Okay. Don't they mail them?
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
they mail.
Okay, so, we're budgeting 60,000. This is a new position, part-time, and this is rounded payroll taxes
For that.
60,000. But for all of it. For this 60,000 in wages, that's the budgeted payroll taxes. Your permit assessment fee is your annual TCEQ permit. It's based on the number of gallons that you used the prior year. So it's always in January. Phone, I lowered it because we're not at 32.
Now, is that the office phone?
That's,
And there's
It should
phone
be, because we
lines.
don't have a city cell phone.
this is.
And that's only a portion of it?
And there's still.
This is Sparkline,
What?
Sparklight Business,
That's all.
Sparklight Business,
Phone. That's the phone in the office. So that's only half of it.
yes.
So it's actually, our phone bill is,
Does that include all the Wi-Fi that we have?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm assuming so, because
Gosh, I would have to-
$60.
and I don't want to assume, is that for phone and internet service?
Our bill's like
that's 3,500 a year.
60 a month.
So that's 300.
Just for the office?
$300.
Wow.
It's almost as much
And
as
y'all
my
don't have very
Verizon
good
bill.
internet.
No.
No.
Okay, so, but I did lower it to 2,000, so I'm assuming that's okay.
Yeah, well, that's not what
Yeah,
we're.
I mean,
Supplies.
we'd like to know
That's
what
your
it actually is.
That's 34.
Is that
Yeah,
office
that's still.
supplies or?
That's just, yeah, well, there's some in here, supplies, like, I don't know, toilet paper or whatever.
As we go further through the night, you'll
Water
make that
sites,
print
there's
bigger.
not that much in supplies.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's more on the other side.
It is.
Okay, y'all. Grand total budgeted expenses, 732,836. With a net loss ordinary, this is your net operating loss of 131,836. You see, this was your budget this year, and we've almost gone up 100 grand.
100 grand.
Okay,
Not bad.
but remember,
Depreciation.
this is non-cash. So essentially, this right here is, and actually, yeah, it actually, so and the only other thing that okay, so this is, we do budget for your debt service. Your annual debt service on the bond is gonna be $133,575. We cover that bond payment with your user fee, which is currently $19. I estimated it at $484 times 12. So 110. And that's why we're budgeting the 24,000 up in your operating.
Right.
So overall, your net loss is 155.
Depreciation.
If you add back depreciation, cash basis, you actually are almost 52 to the
And 50
good.
grand in the total.
So really, but really by not meeting, not covering your depreciation, you're really only saving,
We're not saving
50,000.
200,000, we're
No.
saving 50,000.
yes, right. And again, y'all went up. You went up 100 grand on your budget, so.
Well, we need to cut some of that.
They cut mine, yeah. you're the
Well,
ones
that is
that-
yours.
You can't
I know,
operate
we
it.
don't need to cut mine, let's wait till Thursday and see what we need. to
Mayberry,
cut.
huh?
I ain't got nothing. I got nothing.
And again, some of this, you may not, we're budgeting,
Well, but, you know,
Start
we
adding
added
liens to
two
these homes.
employees.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, go line.
Yeah.
So we
So, I
added,
mean, if you add more, if you can get your connections up, you're gonna, that's why we can't really look at, your connections have been stable for, 2 years. We always, for full disclosure, just briefly, I looked at the possibility of lowering the user fee, and there's no way. Because your connections haven't increased,
and they're not.
so
for all.
we're kind of.
Now,
Yeah.
now that's.
Now, if your connections if your water revenue goes up, well, actually it won't because it's pretty stable. But if we could increase,
Part of the 17.
the only way,
The water rate?
So we can
The-
develop them. And then bring.
No, if we don't have to.
no. So,
Well, now
you really can't do that.
here's, that's something we can live with right now. Here's a couple of premises that I'm gonna throw out there. One, with the maintenance, with our own maintenance crew, I'm hoping that we can, once we get kind of caught up with some of these miscellaneous stuff we're working on now, we can get them up to speed where they can do some of this maintenance work, like changing out meters, doing disconnects, some of that stuff. So that is what I would be looking for to happen next year.
They would pay for themselves.
Right.
Still breathing.
And we're gonna, a couple of those items, when I originally put this together, like the preventive maintenance painting of those pipes down there, I had something like $10,000 in it. Most of it was labor, so I don't really know what that is, but I only got 1,500 in there now for paint.
And if midway through the year, we see that, maybe you can amend the budget
Study, which is at
for
750.
increases, but you can also amend the budget for decreases too. So if we've overestimated these by a significant amount, we can actually go back and amend it.
But at the end of the year, it's
But-
not gonna matter, right? Because the money's still gonna be in the same
Yeah,
bucket.
yeah,
Could you
So-
self-audit that quarterly?
Trying to get
I
more-
could,
Yeah.
And actually, y'all can,
We should
because
be
you
doing
get
that.
a budget to actual
Yeah.
report in your packet every month. So you can
Here's the other 2 points I wanted to make. If you go up to revenue, we probably lost somewhere between $6,000 and $10,000 this last year because of non-working meters. And when that happened, we didn't have a basis to charge customers anything but the minimum amount. So we were losing at least $100 per meter when that happened. We're almost caught up on that. We got hit by a lot of things. One of them, the failure rate increase, the other, all this, supply issues that we couldn't get the stuff in. So we're trying to get ahead of the curve on that. We've got an order coming in, and now we're gonna be caught up with that. So that costs us some money that we should be retrieving this year, $6,000-7,000 additional revenue above what we had. Now, that's gonna be mostly offset with the fact that we gave a senior citizen discount. And so that is taking away about $500 a month from revenue. So that's another $4,000. So there'll be some pluses and minuses in there.
But we were losing 4,000 a month just on meters. If you had 40 meters at $100 a meter, that's 4,000 a month. That'd be 50 grand a year.
Yeah, I did some rough numbers. It could be more than that, but that's a conservative number. The other thing too is that one of the issues for water quality, I've got, when I started doing this, I got two goals. One, to provide as good a water and sewer service as I possibly can to the citizens out there as we can. And the other is to maintain the cost by either not increasing them or possibly reducing them. And we've done that twice in the last year and a half. Once was the $6 user fee we reduced, and the other was the senior citizen discount. Now, one of the issues that addresses that first point, that we don't have a problem now, probably not going to have one for another 5 years or so, but treatment of well water is basically adding disinfectant. And one of the residuals you get is something called TTHM that we have to measure and report. TCEQ reports it. So in order to keep that number where it's supposed to be, we have to run the chlorine, the residuals at a little bit lower than mid-range, which is fine because we're disinfecting it. But it doesn't. It only gives you a narrower band to run in versus the other. So water treatment, there's a process that is we've just become available, knowledgeable of. It's got to do with aeration. I haven't seen the process. I've only gotten the words talking through our rep. But we've already done some bottle sampling of our water at the storage tank, and it's reduced the TTHMs by 80% in the tank, which is huge.
Yeah.
And now that's not at Carroll Street, which is the furthest street. And that's where you get the longer the minerals in the water stay in contact with the chlorine residuals, the greater the hazard, the potential to form this stuff is. So the other thing, the next step is they have a pilot test where they actually can run a bigger test. And I just had a discussion this afternoon on that. However, that's going to cost us some money to do that pilot test. And right now it looks like it's about $2,500 to do that. Now, this is something that I'll be throwing out. You know, I'm going to be talking to different people individually because they're ready to come in here. And I'm for doing that.
How much more is it to treat it that way than the other way?
Those are answers I don't have all those answers. It's an aeration process. The cost of treatment has got to be a factor that.
It's a main factor.
No, it's not the main factor. The main factor is the cost of putting the system in. It's not like just hooking up an air hose.
Well, that's the part of it is the treating.
Well, I mean, it's all of it, and it would be bond issue money to do that.
Oh, okay.
Not bond issue, I'm sorry. We don't want any more bonds, grant money. But
Yeah.
that's kind of what we're working on. We got going parallel. So anyway, that's something that probably, it's this year's budget. And it's in this year, so,
Just to check it.
And you're talking to Karen,
to run the pilot test.
and you're talking to Karen about this, right?
I've talked to Karen today.
See if she's familiar with a grant that.
What?
See if she has a knowledge of a grant that might cover this. She might.
Well, we're gonna have to have a grant to do the project if it works, but we're not even gonna consider it if it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But it's kinda like, it's kinda like a risk of, you're going and betting on the Cowboys tomorrow, and they're a 6-point favorite. If you win a little bit, but if you lose, then it's only a 55-45 shot.
Yeah.
This is if we win big time.
So is this
But we could lose.
TTHM, this residual TTHM, is there anything that could be maybe associated with the downstream filtration, or is that something that has to be at a source of origination?
No, you'd want it to source.
Okay.
Because, it's
2024.
you want to do it at source and hit everything. Otherwise, if you have it downstream, you'd just be doing pieces of it, and you want your whole system. I didn't mean to take your time,
That's
sorry,
okay.
but
I just wanna
anyway,
make
that's
sure y'all
something that
know.
just came up the last.
Exactly.
So, got
Thank
my
you.
grandson's football game.
So anyway, that's
Well,
kind of where I'm
my
leaning to go
caregivers
right now.
essentially
Y'all kind of giving me the authority to
So
spend
I
that
don't
kind of
want to be
money.
home
love
by
it.
myself very long.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Okay,
Simply plain.
Any other discussion?
As long as you're all good with the numbers, I saved them, and then I'll send Sabrina just the final proposed so that y'all can approve it at your meeting. So,
If there's no other discussion, we can have a motion to dismiss. May I have a motion?
Make a
I'll
motion
make
to
a
adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
Bud seconds. Doug?
so what do you have Thursday? Your grandson?
August, just, I understand.
My granddaughter just started
Baseball season.
softball season.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Took a lot of, Janice played volleyball last
To
time.
get this depreciation put in there,
Yeah.
okay? And we don't need
All right.
to just dismiss it as it is fictitious.
So these are, if you look at candidates for,
You're right.
Open
If you look at
positions.
true balance sheet.
and I have an opponent, he didn't show up.
Oh, well, I hope you
Okay, that's money we're sitting back to replace stuff we're out there.
As it goes up.
What for?
Yeah.
As anybody in business, if you replace what you sell off the shelf, you go out of business.
Taking all your photos.
Well, you got one.
Thank you, darling.
Heather,
I took my
would
baby
you
out.
unplug me? The top one. No, on the power, yeah. Thank you.
I think I
All right,
can
then I'll see y'all Thursday.
We're back in here Thursday.